going to be a very interesting offseason for the Kansas City Chiefs, and J.J. Watt is somebody that can help them. At least that's what today's Chiefs First Take is all about. Welcome back to RGR. I am Ryan. This is me going rogue once again on the Kansas City Chiefs and the NFL because sometimes I get a little bit out there, and that's all right. This one doesn't feel like I'm out there, though, because you're starting to hear more and more noise about J.J. Watt, what he wants to do, where he wants to go, and how this all works out is really the question mark at this point. That said, there's a lot that goes to it in terms of him, and if the Chiefs really want to be in this, can they get it done? There's things that has to happen before they can really explore it in its entirety. We're going to take a look at that right here. If you're new to the channel, make sure you click the like and the sub and the bell notification now so you know what comes next. We're going to have a film session or mock for you tomorrow from Dan. I'll have my first mock draft of the offseason on Thursday afternoon. Make sure that you're here for that as well, or that you tune in that night, because it's going to be a starting point for where we move forward in this offseason process. So if you're a member, we had a member stream this week. We're going to continue that every other week, a member stream or a Zoom, and we'll have videos in between because we have a lot of moving parts. Dan doing film, me doing film, both of us doing mocks. Jeff's going to be back helping me with Rogue Analytics as we start to look at the athletic matrix about who has the athletic makeup to really have an impact, not only on the Chiefs, but across the entire NFL. So if you're not a Chiefs fan, I got stuff for you as well. That said, all that goes into building a roster that you hopefully feel can take you back to another Super Bowl. If you're Brett Veach and Andy Reid, that's the story of the day. That's the goal of the year. And so that comes into J.J. Watt getting himself extracted from all that's going on down in Houston. You have to feel for Deshaun Watson, but JJ got his done. A lot of it is because of his salary and his age. That goes into it. And quite frankly, those also play into the decision to have interest, or if he has interest in a given team as well. And what we've started to hear, my initial reaction has definitely been echoed around the NFL media hubs, but I'm not hearing that from people inside that know the league, that have contacts within the league. The media feel like playing with his brother, just as I said when it happened, or playing at home in Wisconsin are probably two of the lures from a personal standpoint for J.J. Watt. And that makes perfect sense. I would completely agree with that. And that was my initial reaction as well. You know, taking a step back and a couple days later, you realize that the cap situations aren't that great. They don't know what they're doing with their quarterback position right now. I mean, for all intents and purposes, they don't have one in Pittsburgh. That's got to be top thing number one that they have to get done. They have some cap issues that they have to get through over there as well. And so I don't know that that's what it comes down to. And for JJ, it turns into the conversation of, do you want to play with your brothers enough that you maybe take yourself out of what is contending for a championship? Because I don't think without a quarterback that they feel can really drive them, that their run game is enough to get them through. And obviously, I would hate to see Chase Claypool wasted, but you have to have somebody deliver the ball to him, to Juju if he comes back, all kinds of things. I think it's more of a long shot for Pittsburgh because JJ might have a sentimental reason, but I don't know that he has an on-field reason to feel that that's the best place for him as he winds down his career to try and push for a ring. And at the end of the day, I feel like all the NFL competitors, that's what it's about. It's not a payday. It's not extending your career so you can make more money. It's about trying to cap off what's been a very illustrious career in one spot and try to cap it off with a ring. So that brings us to, what about Kansas City? The Green Bay thing is the competition. And I think Kansas City and Green Bay are very, very similar in terms of their cap structure situation. They both have to get under the cap. They both would have to figure out what to do with guys they have in place already. Restructures, extensions are going to be the main modes of getting cap space. And I think both teams have to do that. The question then becomes, assuming that the teams can get that structure in place and get cap room for J.J. Watt, does it make more sense for him to want to play with Aaron Rodgers? And even after seeing what Aaron Rodgers did this season with, Devontae Adams and a couple of question marks elsewhere, if it wasn't for the emergence of a tight end, does that season actually happen for him? We don't know. And so you have to judge everything. He would be displacing a edge rusher in Green Bay, most likely, or having to rotate with one that already makes quite a bit of money. They have some funds tied up in their ends. And so making room for that might be difficult. It might be stepping on toes as well. Like there's a lot of things that go into that decision if you're Green Bay. But playing at home, I think, is for the player, for JJ, an interesting idea. And I have to feel like he has to look at the quarterback situation and feel that despite not having all those weapons, you have to think that Aaron Rodgers will have more this coming season, that the quarterback is what gives him the confidence there. The same thing would be said for Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City as well. And you start to hear more bits and rumors about Kansas City being under consideration if you're J.J. Watt. Now, I don't have any connection to him or know anybody that works with him, so this is not firsthand. But we are hearing more rumors about it could be a possibility because of the fit. The fact is the Chiefs need a left end that's a pass rusher. They're losing a bunch in Alex Okafor, Tano Passanio, and Taco Charlton are all free agents. Now, I think you bring Taco back, and I've talked about that on the live stream. I talked about it on the Locked On Chiefs podcast this week. And if you want to know more very specifics about who the free agents are, what the cap space is, how it all goes together, we broke everything down all week long this week on Locked On Chiefs, from extensions to restructures to free agents to tags to tenders, all of it. Make sure you're checking out Locked On Chiefs because Chris brings a lot of knowledge in that area that I don't pay attention to. I'm building the roster to be on the field. He helps with the rest. And it's a great conversation. You don't want to miss it because it gives away what they have to do in order to get something like a J.J. Watt signing done. And that would be definitely demanding a restructure, most likely from one of the big stars. I would think it would be Frank Clark because I think his contract was kind of set up that way so that you could take from it, convert to bonus, get cap space, and still have Frank happy with his yearly payout, but have the room to add someone. And so that would be my first inclination. Could be an extension for Tyrann Mathieu or somebody else as well. But the point is, they already have, the Chiefs, a hard goal of getting under the cap. That's going to be, we're talking 25, 30 million worth of work to do. And then you would have to make room for J.J. Watt. So I think the deal for J.J. would have to be 6 or less, more likely in the 4 to 5 range as a base number, and then add some incentives on it. If JJ's willing to play for that and thinks he can win a ring or at least compete for one in Kansas City, that's got to be a really enticing thing. It allows them to make a 4-man front, much like the one that you just saw beat Kansas City in the Tampa Bay front, where you have 4 pass rushers that you feel can get home, and it doesn't have to be against a backup offensive line. With J.J. Watt, Frank Clark, and Chris Jones, who are you going to double? Because that's the thing with J.J. He had the same production, and you saw it last night on Twitter. I put some of that stuff out as Frank Clark last season, but he got doubled a ton more. So if that continues and teams still choose to double J.J., that leaves you pretty much unable to double Chris Jones or Frank Clark. That's good for the pass rush. If they choose to double one of them, then J.J.'s got a much easier time. And so I think if you can have 3 pass rushers on there, you're going to be in good shape. And that's nothing against Mike Dana, because Dana, I think, had a great rookie year. But I think he's a good all-around. He reminds me of Alex Okafor in that he can do a bit of everything, but he's not a dominant pass rusher, and that's what the Chiefs need. So that said, you can rotate him in there. I think they bring Taco Charlton back, and I think that gives you a nice rotation. It gives you a defensive front that Spags can use 4 with. Maybe you get a blitzing linebacker, and you're not playing as much linebacker coverage, and you go to that dime all the time. That might be a way to go, and that changes the draft, and we're going to have to see how that works out, because I have done a number of linebackers at this point for this draft class, and we're going to have a lot to talk about there. But at the end of the day, it is something that on the field would fit. You have to do some work, but Brett Veach isn't as scared of contract work. Brett Tillis is still in the building, so they have the leg up, in my opinion, at getting something like that done. So let me know what you think. Do you like the J.J. Watt thing? Would you like to see him in Kansas City? Leave your comments below. If you're not, make sure you click the like and the sub and the bell notification. Hit them all so that you know what comes next. My first mock of the offseason is going to come out on Thursday. Dan will have something for you tomorrow, and we'll have something on Friday as well. So thanks for all your time checking this one out. This was a first take. I'm glad you guys were here. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.